All right, so get ready because we're going deep into a real-life London art heist today.
Sounds exciting.
It is. We've got all sorts of stuff.
Like what?
Police reports, witness statements, even notes from the security footage. It's amazing.
So like we're getting the inside scoop, huh?
Totally. It all starts at the Royal Art Gallery. A super valuable painting goes missing and, well, things aren't always what they seem.
I bet. It always strikes me how these art heists, they're like a mini version of the city itself. You see all its history, how it's changed, the good and the bad.
That's a great point. And speaking of, we're following Detective Brown. He's a seasoned guy on the London police force.
Old school then.
Yeah, he's seen it all, remembers London before all the cameras, back when it was more, foot patrols and gut instinct. Now he's working with Officer Patel.
So that's the modern approach, all tech and data analysis.
Right. Two different styles, working together.
That dynamic must be interesting.
Totally. So picture this. The Royal Art Gallery, filled with priceless art. Mr. Harris, the owner, he's freaking out because one of his prize paintings is gone, vanished.
Poof. Just like that.
Pretty much. The police reports mention a broken lock, a shadowy figure on the security footage at 2 a.m.
That's creepy.
Totally. And of course, there's Mr. Harris, the owner, totally distraught.
So first things first, the detectives have got to check the gallery itself. Maybe there are clues they missed.
Right, and then talk to Mr. Harris, see what security measures were in place.
And then that security footage. They got to analyze that for any tiny detail about the thief. It's like a puzzle with missing pieces.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Early on, suspicion falls on someone who works at the gallery, a staff member. At their place, the detectives found, well, quite a bit. The door is open, signs of a struggle.
Like what?
Papers scattered all over, a chair knocked over, the whole works.
Okay, now that could be the real deal, a panicked thief, making a mess. Or it could be staged.
You mean on purpose?
Yeah, to throw the investigation off track. A classic tactic.
And to make things even more suspicious, they find a photo of this staff member with a guy completely unidentified.
Uh-oh.
That's what Detective Brown thought, too. He starts thinking, inside job?
Yeah, that's logical. Someone on the inside could use their knowledge to their advantage. But you got to consider all the angles, right? We can't rule out other motives, other suspects just yet.
Absolutely. But then, another twist. There's a hidden camera in the gallery's storage room.
No way.
Yes. It shows two figures, moving fast, carrying something big, wrapped in cloth. Could it be the missing painting?
Ah, the suspense.
And guess what? It is a painting.
The stolen one.
Nope, not the one they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a curveball.
Yeah.
So now they've got two mysteries on their hands.
Yeah, a mini mystery inside the big one. So this new discovery, it leads to a warehouse raid. There's a chase, tense moments, and finally they catch those two figures.
And I'm guessing the painting they find isn't the one they're after.
You got it. But it turns out this little side mystery, it's actually more helpful than they thought. They find fingerprints on the recovered painting, and they belong to Mark.
Mark?
Yeah, and get this. Mark works at the gallery, and he knows Mr. Harris.
So Detective Brown's inside job theory might be right after all.
Things just got a whole lot more interesting, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
Now they're back at the gallery, going over every inch of their storage warehouse super meticulously.
The pressure must be intense.
Oh, for sure. They got to find that masterpiece before it's gone forever.
Every tick of the clock, the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer.
Exactly. And just when hope's starting to fade, Officer Patel notices something strange.
What's that?
There are these crates stacked in a way that's off, like someone's trying to hide something.
Oh, come on, don't leave me hanging.
And there it is. Hidden amongst the crates, they find it, the stolen painting.
What a relief. They must felt like a huge weight was lifted.
It's one of those aha moments, Sometimes the tiniest detail cracks the whole case wide open.
Absolutely.
But even with the painting back and the suspects in custody, Detective Brown leaves us with this. We've solved the case, but I wonder how many others are still out there. London has its secrets.
It makes you think, right? Maybe this isn't an isolated incident. Maybe there's a whole network operating beneath the surface.
Chilling, isn't it? We've closed this chapter, but the story of art theft, with all its twists and turns, it's still going on. What other secrets are out there just waiting to be uncovered? This case, it really shows you the challenges cops face these days. It's not just about talking to witnesses and checking for clues, it's all this technology, too.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, security footage, fingerprints, it's like a whole other world.
It's like a mashup of the old ways and the new, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even with all the tech, you can see how Detective Brown's experience, that gut feeling, it really mattered.
It's like you can have all the fancy tools in the world, but you still need to know which one to use, you know?
Absolutely. Experience counts for a lot.
It makes me wonder about these art thieves. Like, what goes on in their heads? Why steal something so valuable, so important to everyone?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not always simple. Sometimes it's about the money, a well-planned operation, but other times it's about obsession, wanting to own something beautiful no matter what.
Detective Brown's words about London having secrets, it really stuck with me. How many other treasures are hidden away, stolen, or smuggled?
It's a scary thought, isn't it? And it reminds us that art theft, it's not just about the money. It's a loss for all of us, like we're losing a piece of history.
It's true. Speaking of history, this Royal Art Gallery, they've got some incredible pieces there. What can you tell us about this stolen painting? What made it so special, so tempting for thieves?
Well, from the reports, it seems like this painting, it was historically important, artistically significant, and that, of course, makes it super valuable.
I see.
Oh, and it was a big painting with a fancy gold frame. It would have been hard to miss, hard to hide.
So, not just valuable, but also a real showstopper.
Right. You know, some art thieves, they actually like that, the attention. Like it's the challenge, a thrill to steal something so obvious.
Before we move on, I got to ask about the warehouse raid. I mean, the planning, the danger, it must be so complicated.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about busting in. There are legal things to think about, warrants, making sure everything's done by the book, and you need a whole team of experts to make it work.
It's like a big, dangerous dance. Everyone has to know their steps.
Exactly, and the stakes are high. One wrong move, and the whole case could fall apart.
And then there's the fingerprint analysis linking Mark to that recovered painting. It seems so clear-cut, but how does that even work?
It's pretty cool, actually.
Hmm.
No two fingerprints are the same, not even for identical twins. When you touch something, you leave these tiny ridges and valleys behind.
Oh, I've seen that on TV.
Right, and experts, they can lift those prints and compare them to a database or to a suspect's prints.
So it's not just about finding a print, it's about matching it to the right person.
Exactly. Super detailed work. But it can be the key piece of evidence. In this case, it showed that Mark was connected to those stolen goods, just like Detective Brown suspected.
Wow. This whole deep dive, it's really been eye-opening, from how the police work to what makes art thieves tick to the importance of protecting our history. It's all connected.
It's amazing how one case can touch on so many things, isn't it?
It really is. It makes you think about what we value, what's important to us, not just as individuals, but as a society. You know, we always think of art as this like timeless thing, something that's always going to be there.
Right?
But this case, it really shows you how vulnerable it is. One minute it's in a fancy gallery, the next, poof, it's gone.
It makes you think about all those historical things,
Yeah.
documents, artifacts, even everyday objects. They can be stolen, damaged, or just forgotten.
It's true.
Yeah.
And how do we protect it all? Do we give enough money to museums, archives? Is there enough security, to prevent this stuff from happening?
It's a tough question. Art theft? It's not just about some rich person losing their painting. It's like we're all robbed of our history.
Yeah, it's like stealing a part of who we are.
Wow.
And it's not just the famous stuff. It could be something small, like a family heirloom.
Exactly. A photo, a letter, something that means a lot to someone, even if it's not worth millions.
Yeah.
That loss, it can be just as bad.
It makes you realize that the things we care about, they can disappear so easily.
We should be more careful. When we go to museums, historical sites, we should think about the stories behind those objects, the people who made them.
It's like a connection to the past.
Exactly. So, yeah, this case, it's solved. The painting's back. The bad guys are caught.
Yeah.
But it makes you think about bigger things, what's important, how we protect our history.
It's a good reminder for all of us. So, to everyone listening, what did you think? Did this case surprise you? What would you do to protect our history? Keep thinking about it, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep with us.